I want to talk today about something that lies close to my heart, and that is art. Simple as that. Art and everything that it means. If you look at my video where I speak about or show my writing room, there's a lot of art around, and even behind me you can see various things hanging on my walls, like my calendar. There's Tintin. There's all kinds of odds and sods. There's everywhere around me. There's frames. I almost don't have any wall space left. Photographs, originals, prints, you name it. It's there, and I want to get at this from a strange angle, and that is from the lack of faith that I have. I'm an atheist. I don't believe in anything supernatural. The one caveat I will put on that is consciousness itself. After some experiences on plant medicine, I'm not quite as atheist as I used to be, but I still don't believe in any gods. But when I engage with, either as a creator or a consumer, in anything that I would call art, I feel a connection to something that can only be described as the divine. It is a sacred process, and I use that term quite often when it comes to the creative process, because there's something about creating and consuming something that is creative that is truly special and truly sacred. I think it was David Byrne who said that the artist is the greatest thing there is. And I would agree with that. It is not a label I would apply to myself. I am not an artist. I wish I was. I went to study art. I wanted to create great works of art. I swapped the pencil for the keyboard several years ago. But it's still something that I find great joy, yes, meaning, but it's something that connects me with life itself. And what I found in, not even lately, AI has made it easier, but AI is by no means the cause of it, is art has been cheapened. Art has been commodified, and this is even before the internet came along. I remember getting exposed to the Tate Modern years ago, and I was like, what the actual is this? Am I too dumb to understand it? Am I uncultured, and do I just need to get a gap in my education filled? I was willing to take that, but as I grew older and more discerning, I realized that actually I stand by my first opinion, that most of this is, I don't get it. And I want to relay a story of what happened in my first year at art college. Now, this was in 1993, and we were all young and freshly out of school, and it was just when grunge came along, and several overprivileged white kids walking around like homeless people, unironically smoking clove cigarettes, and, they were so seen it was actually nauseating. Music was great, though. All these little quasi-alternative gummy goth art students, creating their oeuvres of black. And one day, one of our lecturers just totally lost it, absolutely lost it. And she started screaming at this one student and said, "This is not art, it's an outburst." Now, that was in 1993. I'm recording this in 2024, so that's over 30 years ago. That's how much impact it had on me. And it is the lens that I assess, if not judge, all artwork by? Is this art? Or is this an outburst? Is this you just flailing it away and trying to make an impression? And it also reminds me of something else a lecturer said, is that art isn't about making an expression. It's not about you expressing yourself. If the world's best artists were the people who could express themselves the best, then, it would be the politicians who are the world's best artists, because boy, can they express. Second-hand car salesmen. Okay, those are the people who can express themselves. That doesn't make them artists. If you want to be an artist, not only do you need to be able to express, you need to be able to impress. And if all you're doing is throwing outbursts, then what are you doing? Now, I'm the first guy to say, never create with your audience in mind. Creation is a selfish act. And once you've created, put it away, because the act is over. But if you want to show the world what you've done, a play, a dance, an act, a drawing, a novel, if you want to show the world, you need to embrace your audience and realize that your audience are sacred. They are human beings just like you, and you need to respect them. And you need to respect them by giving them an expression of the divine, by putting in your effort, by putting in your love, your heart and soul. Like the cult said, you got to bleed a little while you sing, lest the words don't mean a thing. And this is what I'm seeing is the words don't mean a thing anymore. Art has become commodified. Art has been replaced by content. There is so much out there. I mean, you go to DeviantArt or Pinterest and you just see an onslaught of content. Instagram is just content, engagement. It's meaningless. It's absolutely meaningless. We're living in a horrible world with wars and political tumult and the wrong cricket teams winning. And it's a horrible world that we live in. And to quote Tom Waits, the quality of writing is diminishing our suffering. Fuck the content. Please, I'm begging you, don't create more content. Create art. Put your soul into it. Fortunately, there are people who are still doing this. I follow a few people on Instagram, a few people on DeviantArt. I'm not going to name them because it's subjective. I'm not going to say, go look at this guy and then say, oh, Jerry said this guy's art and actually it's shite. Could be. Would be. Probably is. Because it is subjective. But in my estimation, everybody that I appreciate, you can see there's effort involved, a forethought. Not some guy who typed some random prompt into an AI generator and gave us a pretty array of pixels to look at. I want to see your raw soul bleeding all over the page, or canvas, or guitar, whatever the case may be. And that's what I try to give people in my books as well. Are they edited? Yes. Are they spell checked? Yes. Are they rewritten several times? Yes. That doesn't take away the rawness and the realness of it. I don't clean it up to the point where it becomes clinical, because then that just ruins the process. But the process of cleaning it up and giving it to your audience is having reverence for your audience, and it's also having reverence for the self and holding the art of creation as the ultimate sacred act.